everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you're new to my channel, my name is Sophie and I would love it if you click that big red subscribe button down below and turn on that notification bell as well so that you never miss a video. Now, this video is going to be about Duolingo because Duolingo has received a lot of hate over the years and I myself used to hate Duolingo, but recently I gave Duolingo another shot because I started learning Italian when I finished university and I had no money in my account. I was in my overdraft, so I had no money to spend on language learning resources. So I gave Duolingo a shot because, you know, Duolingo is free. Yes, there is the premium version, but you get a lot more for free with Duolingo as you do other language learning apps. So it seemed like a good time to give Duolingo another try. And I was surprised by how much I enjoyed using it. So I thought I'd do this little Duolingo review here because I started to wonder, did I really hate Duolingo? Or was I just convinced by all the videos I'd seen online saying Duolingo is not the best language learning app and you should be using other resources to learn a language, that I hated Duolingo because I was convinced that I shouldn't be using Duolingo because they convinced me it wasn't good when actually I should be making my own personal opinion. And of course you can watch other videos and reviews to help you find good resources, but you always got to develop your own, form your own opinion on the resources that you try, right? And use the resources that work best for you. So yeah, that's going to be this video, this little review on Duolingo, and apologies if you hear any shouting in the background. I'm pretty sure you already have. Basically I live opposite a primary school, and although it is currently the weekend, there seems to be some sort of football game going on, and I can't really wait until the football game finishes because one, I don't know when it's going to finish, and two, this is literally the only chance I have to film a video now for the next 2 weeks, so I kind of just have to film the video despite the noise. But yeah, I've been really struggling to film videos now that I work full time and it gets dark at like 4 PM in the UK, so I can't even film a video after work because I need natural lighting. I rely on natural lighting to film videos, but you're probably bored of hearing me talk about that, so let's get on with the video, shall we? So let's start by talking about the pros of Duolingo, and let's get the obvious one out of the way, which is that you get a lot of stuff for free. You get access to the entire course for each language and as many languages as you like, I believe. I mean, I have used Duolingo for multiple languages and I've never been told that I need to cough up and pay to learn another language. So I'm assuming you can learn as many languages as you like. Yes, it probably will take you a lot longer to complete a course if you are using the free version, because obviously every time you make a mistake you lose a heart, and when you run out of hearts you cannot continue learning, which is a bit frustrating, especially if you are having a bad day. Sometimes I seem to have really bad days on Duolingo and just lose hearts really stupidly, like on silly questions that I should know the answers to because I've misspelt something in my answer, or I was just rushing because the question was so easy. I was like, yeah, I know this, and I just missed a complete word. But you do get an awful lot for free with Duolingo, and it's such a good resource if you don't have the funds to pay for anything else because you get a lot for free. And I would always say don't rely solely on Duolingo, but if you haven't got the funds for anything else, at least you can learn some basics until you have the funds to purchase some other resources. And the next pro, of course, is it's super fun and easy. I just find it super fun to use because you just use it on your phone, on the go. It's not going to take you too long. It looks nice, it looks appealing, and I feel like for something to be fun and easy to use, like if I'm going to use something, it needs to look good. If it looks terrible, I'm not going to use it. That's why I don't like Anki. I know a lot of people love Anki, but I just found that I just would fall asleep whilst using Anki, and I literally think it's just because it looked grey and boring. But Duolingo, it looks fun, it looks exciting. You've got that Greenbird duo, and you have different characters who you meet along the way, and you've got the different quests you can do, the friends quests and stuff. I don't know how much people pay attention to those, but because I'm pretty sure it just automatically puts me in quests with random friends that I've got. But that is a good thing, right? You can unlock chests, and it kind of encourages you to keep going and keep learning. If you know that if you and your friend complete X amount of lessons, you're going to get a treasure chest and unlock some diamonds or whatever, which you can use to buy more hearts, so you can keep playing, even if you're only using the free version. Another one, of course, is Duolingo is literally perfect for if you've only got like 5 minutes or you're on the go. I know there's so many apps that are like that, like literally any language app really is perfect for when you're on the go or you don't have much time. But like each lesson on Duolingo literally takes like 5 minutes. Yes, it will take you longer to complete the whole, like, I want to say module within the course. I don't know what they call all these levels, but they have the levels, and then they have the different lessons, but then they have the different lessons in that, if you know what I'm referring to. So I'll say the lessons and then the subjects and then the levels and then the subjects and then the lessons within that, let's say. So yeah, there might be like 5 lessons to complete per subject, but each lesson's going to take you like less than 5 minutes. So if you really do only have 5 minutes, you can still make that tiny bit of progress. And yeah, and it doesn't take much energy, so it's perfect. I've been finding it perfect for when I'm really tired after work and I don't want to do any other language learning because I'm just so tired, but I don't just want to solely just watch Netflix and nothing else. You know, I can literally just lie in bed, and it's probably not the best attitude to have, to be lying in bed whilst learning a language, but I literally can't just lie in bed and study on Duolingo. Another good thing about Duolingo is repetition, because repetition is so important for remembering things, but each, you know, lesson, it will have certain sentence structures that you seem to just go over again, and you repeat certain sentences again, and obviously you can go back to different levels and repeat them again. And I just think the repetition is so good in Duolingo, because I've been using it for Spanish, for example, and Spanish, I am quite an advanced speaker, so I probably could just jump right down towards the end of the course somewhere. I don't know how many levels there are, but I probably could jump quite far down, but I haven't been, because I've been finding the repetition quite useful, because there's a lot of like basic grammatical structures that I probably do kind of need to go over, because I probably do make mistakes sometimes, but because they're so basic, if I sit there and go through a grammar book, it's just gonna make me a bit bored. But then I can go over them on Duolingo, and I know Duolingo isn't the best to learn grammar, but because technically you are still revising the sentence structures and putting that grammar into place when you're completing those sentences and those translations on Duolingo. And you know, that repetition, I just find it so useful. I just realised that the next point on my notes I've kind of touched upon already, but I find Duolingo very motivating, or can be very motivating, because you know, you have those league tables, you can watch yourself go up in a table, and you can compete with your friends, well, not really compete with them, but work together with your friends. It is very motivating in that sense. And you know, you have your streaks and stuff, so it can be quite motivating. And next, I thought I should mention some of the main things that people say is bad about Duolingo. That took me a while. And I'm going to start with grammar, because people say that the grammar explanations on Duolingo aren't very good. And to be fair, it took me a while to even realise that they were there. Because when you start a level, it doesn't tell you, right, this is the grammar you're going to learn, or this is what you're going to be learning. You have to actually actively click on the little lesson explanation to see the grammar explanation, and it is very basic. And if you are learning something for the first time, I don't think it would be enough. But I think if you have a grammar book that you or some sort of textbook, some sort of book that you use to learn grammar, and then Duolingo is just another way of practicing with those repetition and exercises, then you know, Duolingo can work for grammar. And it is nice that you've still got those little basic explanations, because if you know, you do just need to quickly go over the basics, it's there. But if you need something more in depth, obviously I think you should go and look over a grammar book. I always think it's important to find some sort of grammar book that you like. I've just ordered one for Italian because I was using Italian Online Club, and I was like, no, I feel like this isn't enough for me. I need a book that I can study with. And I've just ordered myself one for Spanish as well, and I've got a level C1 and level C2 one for Spanish. I'm excited to work through those, because I didn't like my old Spanish grammar book that I used, so I hope this one is a lot better. But I'm really rambling on now. I'm meant to be talking about Duolingo, not grammar books. And the next thing that I thought I should mention was the strange sentence structures. I'm sure you all know about those. I'm sure if you're watching this video, you've probably used Duolingo before. I don't know, but you've probably heard about the strange sentence structures. You've probably seen like memes about it, and they are very strange. Trying to think of one that I've had recently. I definitely screenshotted one for this video. And what was that? A snake is in the newspaper was the one that I had recently, which is something that I do hope I'm never going to have to say, and most people probably won't have to say. I think one I've heard before in Spanish was like, the elephant is mine. Again, like maybe some people will have to say in Spanish, the elephant is mine, if you do own an elephant, but how many people are going to say that? And yeah, these sentences are strange, and you could be thinking, why am I learning these sentences if I'm never going to say them? But at the same time, yes, you may never use them, but you're learning the basic grammar structure, and you know, you're learning how to put that into place. And all you've got to do is take out some of those words and change them for something else that does make a lot more sense. For example, instead of saying the elephant is mine, I could say the shoes are mine. Or I could say the keys are in the bag, if I'm telling someone where the keys are that they need to find, rather than, you know, the snake is in the newspaper. So you're learning how to use, you know, prepositions there in that example, and the present tense, and to say where something is. You need to think of it like that. And although you think, well, why wouldn't you just learn how to say the keys are in the bag? Well, for one, with Italian, I've been learning, you know, I'm very early on in my Duolingo journey, so I imagine I'll probably learn the word for keys and bag later on, and they've just picked animals because that seems to be something that you always learn as a beginner. And newspaper also seems to be something that you've always learned as a beginner, so that's why. But also at the same time, I think personally I'm going to remember that sentence more and how to use that sentence structure more, because I've learned it with a weird sentence, and I'm going to think of that more. It's going to stick more because it's weird. And I don't know if maybe you think I'm wrong about that. I don't really know how the human brain works, but I know for personally myself, like, I'm going to remember something more if it's weird or it's funny, and I feel like that, you know, I feel like I can't be the only one. So yes, the sentences are weird, but they are actually good, because you are going to remember those basic structures and how to, yeah, form basic sentences. And now to talk about what I don't like about Duolingo. The first thing that I don't like about Duolingo is their translations in English. Sometimes I don't think their translations in English are the best. Now, I am not by any means a professional translator. I did do a degree in modern foreign languages, and we did have to complete some translation exams, but it's nothing that, you know, qualifies me to be a translator. I would have to go on and do a translation master's or some sort of other translation course that qualifies me to be a translator, if that's what I wanted to do. But at the same time, having studied translation, you know, a bit, just slightly, just having touched upon it, I do look at their English translations sometimes. I think they're not very good, and you might be thinking, why does that bother you so much? But it bothers me because when you give an answer, your translation has to match theirs in order for you to get that right and not lose a heart. And there's some times where I have given a translation that I think is better, and I've lost a heart and been told that I've, you know, got an answer wrong, and that just really bugs me, because I'm like, well, no, I haven't, because they've understood exactly what it was they were saying, and I've actually given a better translation or use better English or whatever. And it just bugs me. Okay, it bugs me. Another thing is something that bugs me about the Spanish course, and that is that it has the Spanish flag. So when I clicked on it, I thought it was going to be European Spanish, which is what I studied at university. It's the form of Spanish that I tend to use, because it's what, well, yeah, it is what I use because I studied it at university, and I'm not going to switch now to like Mexican Spanish or Argentinian Spanish. I'm just going to continue with that Spanish. It makes more sense. I'm comfortable using it. I use European Spanish in my job. That's what I use, okay? But it's not European Spanish, because they use words like caro instead of coche, and that just annoys me, because again, that is where I could get a translation wrong and lose a heart, because I'm automatically gonna say, oh, coche, and coche, and it doesn't use vosotros, and I need to revise the grammar of vosotros. That is what I mess up on the most, and I think that's because my old grammar book didn't include it, which is why I didn't like it, because that's, you know, what I need to learn, and Duolingo doesn't include it, so I find it very difficult to revise conjugations of vosotros, and I don't feel very confident talking to more than one person in Spain because of that. So that's what I don't like. You know, I think if they want to use Latin American Spanish because it's more widely spoken, that makes sense, but then why have you got Spanish flag and not the Mexican flag or something like that? And you know, Duolingo, they have so many languages, why couldn't they actually make two separate Spanishes on there? Why couldn't they make a Latin American Spanish course and a European Spanish course? Like, why couldn't they do that? I mean, maybe some of the words on there are European Spanish, and I haven't thought about them so much, but I've definitely seen words on there that I'm pretty sure are more Latin American. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure I haven't seen vosotros on there as of yet. The next thing I really dislike about Duolingo is the order in which you learn certain topics, and this is something that I've only really noticed recently when I started learning Italian, because I learned Italian for beginners, whereas German, Spanish and French, I think maybe I started learning French from beginners on Duolingo, because I already had Duolingo when I started learning French at university, but German and Spanish I definitely didn't, and it's also been a while, and you know, I've had some time where I was just studying languages at university and not using Duolingo, and kind of come back to Duolingo and stopped using Duolingo and then coming back to it. Yeah, it's been a whole journey with Duolingo. But Italian I've been learning for beginners, and I've noticed, for example, that I started learning animals before I started learning numbers. And I know animals is a very, you know, beginners friendly topic, and it is quite a fun topic to learn. I always get excited about learning, you know, those beginner topics like animals and food and stuff, colours, stuff like that. It's just fun. Not necessarily always the most useful to know different animals, but fun. However, I don't understand why I haven't learnt the numbers first, because currently in Italian, I can tell you, for example, that the snake is in the newspaper, or that I have 2 dogs, or he has 2 cats, but I can't tell you how old I am. And I just feel like learning numbers first would be so much more important, because once you learn numbers, you can say dates, you can say, you know the costs of things. And I know you can't, you know, that'd be too much to learn at once, but if you learn the numbers quite early on, then you can learn to say how old you are at least, because I think that's quite an important thing to learn earlier on, so you can introduce yourself. And then as you go along and you learn things like how to say the time, how to say how much something costs, to say how much something weighs or whatever, you already know that, you know the numbers, and it'll be revision of the numbers. So yeah, that's just something I don't understand. However, all in all, I do like Duolingo. It is fun. It's not necessarily the best language learning resource there is out there, but it's one that's fun and easy and accessible to a lot of people. So, you know, you've got to show it some love. It is a good app. And I will be using it a lot more. Obviously, it's not always the best for beginner language. No, for advanced languages, I want to say. I feel like that's why maybe I didn't like it so much in the past as well, because I was studying German, Spanish and French at university, so I was quite, you know, advanced in those languages, whereas Italian, studying it from beginners, it's a completely different story. And I'm also not studying it for uni, so it's more fun and I can take my time with it. There's no pressure to, you know, reach a certain level in a certain amount of time so I can pass an exam. Like, I don't even tell people that I speak Italian because, well, I don't, but I've literally just started learning it. But even when I get to intermediate, I don't necessarily have to. I'm really going off on a little tandem here. Basically, I need to end this video now because it's going to be too long and I've got other things to do. I hope you enjoyed it. Give it a thumbs up if you did. Let me know your personal opinions on Duolingo as well. Be interesting to read some of those. See if you have, you know, a better or worse experience than I've had with Duolingo. We all have our own experiences with these apps, right? But I hope you found this video useful. Maybe you clicked on this because you weren't sure if you should use Duolingo or not. So hopefully you found it useful. Please subscribe if you enjoyed it, because I do make a lot more videos about language learning, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Bye!